I'm Daniel Marin. Welcome to 9 on 9, our weekly interview show. This week's topic is giving the gift of life through organ donation. I recently spoke with Carla Martinez, the program director for the Southwest Transplant Alliance. 9 on 9 starts right now. All right, Carla, thank you so much for being with us this evening. So it is time for everyone to start considering registering for organ, eye, and tissue donation. So talk about the conversation. What's the easiest way to bring this up with loved ones?
Well, you know, the most important thing is letting your loved ones know that your wish is to help someone's life. The reality is that there are a lot of people that are currently waiting for a life-saving organ transplant, and giving that selfless gift when we pass away is a really easy way to leave a lasting legacy.
And what is the process like to register? Take us through that.
Well, it's really easy, and you know, it just takes a couple of minutes. You can go online to our website, organ.org/register. If you have an Apple phone, you can register on the Health app, and you can also go to donatelifetexas.org. And when you renew your driver's license or get your ID or permit to drive, you can also register at the DPS office.
Can donors choose what type of donation they would like to give, that they would like to donate their eyes or tissue? Can they pick?
Yeah, absolutely. So when you register, for example, at the DMV, you will automatically be registered to donate organs, eye, and tissue for both education and research. But you can always go on to the website for donatelifetexas.org and look to see what you are registered for. There you can make the choice if you want to register for education purposes or transplant only. You can also decide if you want to donate all of your organs, you know, tissue or corneas. So yeah, you can make that decision.
And let's talk about the recipients. How are they chosen?
So there is a list that consists of the more than 100,000 people that are currently waiting for an organ transplant. There is a computer system that matches body type and blood type, several different criteria. It is matched through that computer system so that we can ensure that allocation of organs is fair and that they go to the people that need them the most. Currently in the United States, there are more than 100,000 people waiting for an organ transplant. Just in the state of Texas, it's about 10,000 people.
That is a lot of people. Is that kind of normal? Is that up? Is that down?
You know, that number fluctuates just depending on you know, what organs have been received for transplant. Obviously, that fluctuates with COVID-19. But, you know, 100,000 people, or even just 10,000 in the state of Texas, when you think about that, that's a lot of people. And unfortunately, approximately 20 people die every single day waiting for an organ transplant.
Do the donors remain anonymous? How can you find out? Let's say you're a recipient and you want to know who gave you the gift of life, who gave you your life back. Are you able to find out?
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the things that we do at STA is provide support to families, donor families, and also to recipient families. And through our aftercare or family services department, those donors, donor families and recipients are able to write to each other. And once there is an agreement from both of those you know, families that we can share that information, we can share that information with them, and in some cases we can even help those families meet each other.
Have you been present for one of those meetings?
Absolutely, and I will tell you that that is the most amazing part. There is not one dry eye in the room. You know, when you see somebody whose life has been saved by a very generous and selfless decision, whether it was made by the donor or the donor family, really some people are, you know, minutes or hours away from death. And so that meeting is something like nothing else. Very special.
Well, we were just getting started here on 9 on 9 this evening. We're talking with the Southwest Transplant Alliance. Stay with us. And Welcome back to 9 on 9. This week we are talking about Southwest Transplant Alliance and giving the gift of life. We're joined by Carla Martinez. Carla, one thing that we hear all the time, and I don't mean to keep bringing it up, but is people, they say, people hear that if you donate or you check yes to being a donor at the DMV, they're going to let you die and then they're going to donate your organs, your eyes. I think it's important to keep reiterating that that's not the case.
Yeah, that is one of the most common myths we hear out in the community, and it is so important for people to know that that is a myth. That is not the truth, and really organizations like Southwest Transplant Alliance, we are the ones that have that list of people who are currently registered as donors. Hospitals, doctors, paramedics, they don't have access to that list. So in fact, they don't know whether you're a registered donor or not. And the most important thing to know is that, we hear a lot of the times, if I get in an accident and I pass away on the freeway, they're not going to try to save my life. Or the most important thing to know is that in order for you to be an organ donor, you must pass away in a hospital on a ventilator. That ensures that your organs are, viable for donation. Less than 1% of people who pass away even in a hospital are actually candidates for donation. It's a very, very small amount of people.
Yeah, so what would make an ideal candidate, I suppose, for a donation?
So typically organ donors are somebody who has had some kind of brain injury. So whether it's a stroke, a gunshot wound, some type of trauma to the brain which causes brain death. And so in fact, what people don't know is that even though you're in the hospital and you're connected to a ventilator, if you have brain death, you are legally already dead. There's no brain activity. And so there's no way for you to come back from that. And sometimes that is what people are confused about, because they think that brain death and being in a coma or a vegetative state is the same, and in fact it is not.
I want to touch on a delicate subject here. How does child donation work?
So, through children, obviously, they have not had the chance to register themselves. By law, when somebody is a potential candidate for donation, hospitals have to reach out to organ procurement organizations, and it is our job to speak to the families and request for authorization. And so in the case of a child, we would talk to the parents and, allow them the opportunity to give the gift of life if that's what they choose to do.
All right, we've got to take another quick commercial break. We're talking with Southwest Transplant Alliance this evening. You're watching 9 on 9 only on KTSM 9 News. And welcome back to 9 on 9. We're speaking with Southwest Transplant Alliance this evening about organ donation and how important it is to give the gift of life. Carla, lots of times some families may have a little bit of apprehension due to religious or cultural beliefs. El Paso, we're a pretty religious community. How do you address those families? Well,
there's another myth, right? Many of us think that our religion does not agree with donation, and the truth is that most major religions consider organ donation a great act of kindness. So one of the things that I always tell people is speak to your spiritual leader, have that conversation with them, see what they think.
I know you all don't necessarily do living organ donations, but you also have information on that as well.
Yeah, so STA procures organs from people or patients that are deceased. But our partners at the transplant centers that we work with, such as Las Palmas Transplant Center, they also do living donations. So there's an opportunity to give a kidney to somebody. If that's something that you wish to do, that you reach out to a transplant center in your area.
We've got to take another quick break. We are talking with Southwest Transplant Alliance this evening here on 9 on 9. We will be right back. Welcome back to 9 on 9. We're speaking with Southwest Transplant Alliance. Carla Martinez joining us this evening talking about giving the gift of life and organ donation. Carla, we do have there's a predominance of diabetes here within our community. That is no secret. How does that, complicate things for our population? How does that lead to higher instances of people needing organ donations?
Yeah, unfortunately, in our community, there are a lot of our family members that are dealing with, high blood pressure, diabetes, and so unfortunately, those are the people that may, in the future, need an organ transplant, whether it's a heart or kidneys. And so that is something that's really important to think about, because a lot of the time, when we're thinking about organ donation, we aren't necessarily thinking about us or our loved ones needing that type of gift to save their lives or to give them a better quality of life. So it's really important that we put ourselves in other shoes and realize that it could potentially be somebody that we love needing that organ.
And I think I know the answer to this next question, but what about when it comes to minorities? We're a minority-majority population. Are we also more susceptible to needing organ donations?
Absolutely. Unfortunately, throughout the state of Texas as well as throughout the United States, Latinos, African Americans, Asian, Pacific Islanders, Native Americans, we're the ones that need those organs the most. And unfortunately, we're also those that tend to say no to donation. And so it's really, really, again, important to really consider if it was you or if it was somebody that you love in need of this donation to save their lives, what would you do? What would you want others to do?
And again, it's not just at the DMV where you can register. What's the website one more time?
You can go to Oregon.org/register, or you can also register at DonateLifeTexas.org.
Carla Martinez with Southwest Transplant Alliance, thank you so much for joining us this evening. Very, very important to get this out there.
Thank you.
And thank you again for joining us this week. Don't forget, if you have a topic that you would like to see us talk about here on 9 on 9, you can always just send me a message on social media. I am at KTSM Daniel Marin. Have a great evening. We'll see you next time.